Hey guys, welcome back to another video. And since I did my video analysis on Silent Hill, I thought it'd be a wonderful idea to, see what Under the Mayo's opinion on Silent Hill is. And oh boy, it's a doozy.
Character I can say for certain doesn't work is Maria. Just as I suspected from the story trailer a few months ago, she is awful. Very weak voice performance, and the only one to blame for that is the director of the game. How is it that a pre-rendered cutscene from a PS2 game gives a far more convincing and emotional performance than the remake from 23 years later?
Anyway, I'm glad you're alive.
Anyway? What do you mean, anyway? You don't sound very happy to see me. I was almost killed back there. Why didn't you try to save me? All you care about is that dead wife of yours. I've never been so scared in my whole life. Anyway? What do you mean, anyway? I was almost killed back there. I have never been so scared in my whole life.
I have to be goddamn honest. I don't see any difference other than the slightest pause in the original when she first starts speaking compared to the right away saying her statement in the remake. There really isn't much of a difference in that whole conversation. I don't understand that.
Maria sounds like she's reading lines from a script instead of actually talking to you. You can hear that, right?
Did something happen to you after we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else?
Did something happen to you after we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else?
Are you confusing me with someone else?
No, I don't understand the problem here. The only thing I see different from the whole conversation in that part when she's talking is that she sounds more conniving in the remake. She sounds like she's planning something, that she's like a fucking evil motherfucker. Like she could stab me in the back any second. That's what she sounds like. She sounds like I can't trust her for a split second. Compared to where the first one goes ahead and sounds more sweet talking instead of that grainy kind of speaking, if that makes sense. But no, I don't see how that can be like reading from the text. She straight up sounds more conniving. That's about it. She sounds more evil than the first one. Okay. What the fuck?
And man, if you can't actually animate the woman to be able to talk to you as you're moving around, just do what the original did and make her only talk during cutscenes.
I don't understand this as a complaint, honestly. Like, she was talking to him not during cutscenes as well, saying like, hey, you're going the wrong way or something. So, I mean, he's wrong with that. So I just don't get it. I really don't. And I never had an issue with, her not looking at me or like anything like that within the game when I played it. So, I mean, you issue? I don't know. I really don't know what to say to that.
Because as it is now, she's this total weirdo that can't make eye contact with me, strangely shifting around as I move. This does not help me connect to her character.
Yeah, she's shifting around because you have the flashlight pointed at her fucking face. She's looking away from you because you have a fucking flashlight pointed at her goddamn face, you moron.
Maria is so bad that no matter how faithful the retelling of this narrative is, it falls flat because the single most important person outside of James himself has been screwed up. Her flirtatiousness has been severely downplayed, her sexiness is essentially non-existent.
What are you talking about? She's still so flirty. She takes him to the fucking strip club and jokes about stripping in front of him, like going on the strip pole and stuff like that. And tries giving him drinks, touching him, all that stuff. Just because she isn't putting his hand on her boob or something like that, it doesn't mean that she isn't being flirty. And the clothing, I mean, I don't see the issue. I like her clothing in the new one, honestly. I prefer it over the first one. That's personal taste, I guess. I just don't really like the crap look. I don't know. Whatever.
And it's not just the midriff that's missing. We knew from the reveal of her that her sexual side would be toned down, even though it's crucial to her character.
I just don't understand the anger of her not being too sexual. I mean, she's still hinting and flirting with him. I mean, that's a prominent thing that's still happening in the game. I mean, I just don't understand that. What? I don't get it. Did you really play this game? Are you sure? Or do you just not know when a girl's subtly hinting and flirting at you? No? Whatever, man.
But little did we know that all the sexually evocative elements of Silent Hill 2 would be removed.
What shit are you smoking? Dude.
Remember when Pyramid Head was seen holding a lying figure's head to his crotch before the boss fight? That's gone. Remember those disgusting orifices in Angela's nightmare with those really disturbing thrusting organs representing her abuse? Well, the organs are gone now. They're just holes in the walls. There was symbolism here. It's gone now.
What you failed to understand is that they hinted at it in different ways, like the pistons and the machinery within that room when they were doing it, and the other ways they were hinting at it through text, through conversation, and through the television, because when the television was going, that was when it was showing the dad being abusive. So, I mean, come on now. Does it all have to go back to showing what the original one did? Why can't they just do their own little different things?
Silent Hill 2, the gold standard for how to integrate haunting images of sexuality into a horror game without it feeling exploitative and tasteless, has been censored to the point of having no sexuality at all.
The sexual themes aren't gone, you nincompoop. You really wanted to fuck with me like this? Come on now. They still have the sexual themes. The nurses, the mannequins, they're all very sexual orientation. The legs, have you seen the legs? It's weird of me to say that, but they're clean and nice looking because James likes legs. It's kind of shown through the imagery. It's not all the same because this is a remake. They're showing the sexual themes in different ways. Come on now. I don't get you. I don't. You hurt me. You hurt me so.
A lifeless Maria that taunts players by referencing her original outfit that this game wouldn't dare to use, and ending execution scenes stripped of all its intensity, and the removal of dark sexual imagery. What's the point?
The point is that you're not looking in the right directions. They changed things. It's a remake for a reason. They changed things because they wanted to show that they knew what they were doing, and they actually did, because they showed those sexual themes in different aspects. You idiot. Oh my god. It's like a remake has to be exactly the same or something. Like, no, they changed things around. An honest to god remake makes things a little bit different, changes the themes a little bit different to suit their imagery, their wants into the game. Like, it's all still there. You're just not looking good enough. Need some glasses, mate.
Well, now all we have is death. Good job, Bloober Team, at missing the point. But that's all I have to say on the story and characters right now. Let's get to the gameplay. I boot up the game on PC, and it tells me this is a better experience with a controller. I'm gonna take that suggestion and shove it up my own ass, thank you very much, because I'm not playing a game with precision aiming on a controller. No. Turn off the completely unnecessary low health warning that floods the screen red. James shows damage on his person and moves slower when hurt, and that's all you need. Go ahead and turn the interactive prompts off if you want a genuine unpatronizing experience. It was so much more rewarding to be exploring these spaces myself using only James's head turns as a clue, instead of following the stupid white circles telling me everything I can click on. I felt a lot better when I found something because I found it. The game didn't just blatantly tell me where it was with an icon, but that's what happens when you strip a game of its original camera direction. I also turned off tutorial prompts after about an hour or so. Once the initial mechanics had been introduced, I didn't want the game telling me anymore. Turn on DLSS to get these ugly textures to stop appearing on gated fences, and you're ready to go.
Okay, you get to change those things, so why are you still complaining and whining like a little piece of shit? Like, seriously? Sometimes I like having the icons for health and stuff like that, pointing those things out. And sometimes I like seeing the pointing out of the save area, so then I could at least see where I can save. So I don't get where your complaints are, other than just to complain. Okay.
The music box puzzle in the hotel now has different puzzles connected to each music box before you find them. The rotating head in the labyrinth is now a central part of the map, returned to multiple times. And my favorite example is the clock in the apartments. Originally, you just unlocked it, pushed it out of the way, and you moved on. Now, you're exploring the apartments to find different clock hands, setting the time separately to unlock 3 different doors. These previously small puzzles have become central focus points of each map that take a lot more time to get past. In isolation, I like this idea a lot, but it's also where the problems of Silent Hill 2 Remake start to rear their ugly heads. So the opening street section and the first parts of the apartments are, in my opinion, stellar. I was ready to call this a Game of the Year contender. But the expansion of the maps and puzzles, something I just got done praising, ultimately goes way too far. The apartments, the prison, and especially the hospital have seen total redesigns. These are all new locations as far as I'm concerned.
Holy shit, it's almost like it's a remake, and redesigning things is its whole point of the fucking game. Wow.
So if you're expecting your familiarity with the original game to give you any kind of advantage, you are sorely mistaken.
What? What? How is that complaint? What? The whole point is so that the original players can go back and go like, huh, I can't just rely on my memories. I have to go in not knowing what to do sometimes. That's the whole aspect of it, is that's different, so then original players can go back and go like, oh, this is different. This is a different game. This is different. Oh my god, you hurt. You hurt me.
That's not in itself a criticism, it's just a fact. But due to the vast expansion of these maps and the unintuitive structure, I found it hard to simply visualize where I was.
So you're complaining. You're still complaining.
Look at the original Brookhaven map. These 3 floors were all laid out in this easy to understand and iconic corridor format, so you had a sense of where you were going without pulling out the map every 10 seconds. Now the hospital is so complex, so full of twists and turns and dead ends and shortcuts and backtracking paths that it becomes a headache to navigate.
See, I knew this wasn't just a fact. This is him being all angry again. Oh, golly. So sad.
It's straight up over-designed and drawn out to such a degree that it becomes exhausting. And that's not a feeling I enjoy in a survival horror game.
You don't like things expanded on and you could explore more into? You don't like that? Okay, I guess just stick to the original game, I guess, instead of whining and bitching about the remake that actually does what it's supposed to do and remake the fucking game.
I love figuring out a map and planning my routes and backtracking for puzzles, all that stuff, but after a while, I'm ready to move on. Silent Hill 2 Remake just won't let me. They've stretched the experience to an unbearable length because people today will complain about paying full price for a game that doesn't take 20 hours to finish.
Some people, unlike you, like to have a longer game experience. Like moi. I like a game that lasts longer than, let's say, 6 to 5 hours. That's just how I am. Because I'd rather pay for a game that's $60 and has longer gameplay and can maybe last for 12 hours or so, rather than a game that $60 and lasts me, I don't know, 2 to 3 hours if I'm speed running the game. Resident Evil 8. And, I just complete it like that and say Tulu. No, thank you.
There's too much padding in the addition of level interactivity as well. Having to break through a wall is cute at first. I thought it was a good way to set up having to escape the fall in the historical center, but it loses its charm after the 20th time you do it. And if you're gonna make environmental puzzles, you gotta do more than just putting in a bunch of boxes you can move around to climb up, or 15 bookshelves you can push out of the way.
This happens maybe 8, maybe 9 times within the game, with each and every thing you just complained about. Are you kidding me? For a game that's really long and maybe lasts 12 hours, you're really going to complain about that. Okay, sure.
It's like they looked at the original game and said, oh hey, you pushed a shelf a couple times, why don't we do it a whole bunch more? I went from absolutely loving my experience in the streets and the apartments to thinking, Jesus, am I ever going to get out of here and meet Maria? This just won't end.
That's why you save and quit for a bit and, relax, not think about the game, and go back to it when you want to. Kind of the point is save and quit. Just saying.
And the sad part is, the overly long levels made me underappreciate all the stuff they actually get right, in their aesthetic, in the smart ways of connecting you to past areas, and in their puzzles. Because not only are the maps 3 times the size as the originals, we also have 3 times the puzzles. I love puzzles, okay, but you can overdo this sort of thing. The original games smartly placed their puzzles at appropriate moments without interrupting the pacing. But the remake eventually had me rolling my eyes. God, another puzzle? I mean, we even have rooms with a central puzzle that unlocks another puzzle in the same room, which unlocks another puzzle on the other side of the room. It's too much, man. It's too much.
Oh my god, expanding on things that they were good at within the first game. Oh no, a tragedy.
And that makes the hard puzzle difficulty a tedious experience, because there's a big difference between a brain-bending puzzle here and there and one happening all the time.
That's kind of the point of having a harder difficulty. Just saying. Maybe go back to normal easy mode, okay?
And it certainly doesn't help when the puzzles are missing crucial information or flat out lying to you. The classic coin puzzle returns, this time requiring you to solve 3 riddles instead of 1, of course. And the first one makes no sense. The riddle says that no one is left in the shade, and I'm assuming that means something since we have a sun and a tree in the image, and we're also referencing the sun's sheen. We have to be going based on what we see here. Now, let me ask you, dear viewer, dear Silent Hill enthusiast and puzzle lover, if you were standing inside this scenario and the sun was to your far right like this, its light directing this way onto a tree that has only leafless branches on its right side, would you not expect the final 2 spaces to be the ones in the shade? That would make sense, right? According to the angle? Well, no, the shade is actually in these 2 spaces. The center one clearly in a spot where sunlight would be entering. Why is this final spot not in the shade? Am I supposed to consider moonlight something that wouldn't result in shade? Well, who talks about shade in the context of night anyway? Oh, it's midnight out, let's go find some shade. Ridiculous. Even if the moonlight means this final space is not in the shade, the trajectory of its light would also mean that the next space is not in the shade.
This is the most autistic ass complaint I ever heard in my fucking life. And this is coming from autistic. Now, I can understand. You're thinking too hard on a puzzle, okay? That's why it's called you're thinking too much, okay? Stop thinking too much. Sometimes puzzles don't require that much thought. It's a lot more simplistic than you think, okay? In other words, move around the fucking coins, you fucking idiot. It's a fucking coin puzzle. It's not that hard. Just move around the coins until you get it right.
But that's one of the correct choices. I do not appreciate being lied to in puzzles, and this shit drives me insane. Tricky wording I can deal with. Real-world knowledge required to solve a puzzle, dangerous, but it can be clever and rewarding. But don't tell me the sky is blue and then punish me for not knowing the sky is actually red.
You're seriously complaining about a puzzle being hard in a game series about puzzles being hard. Silent Hill 1 literally had you use acid on a mannequin hand to get a key from it. And you're complaining about difficulty. Stop. Just stop talking.
Bloober, you need a QA guy there to tell you this stuff doesn't make sense. I am available. I charge $10,000 an hour. Geez, I'm really sounding irritated, aren't I? Well, after the duration of these maps had worn down my patience, I finally got out of the obnoxiously long hospital on day 2. I'd become so numb to the entire experience that I just wanted it to be over. Honestly, I wanted to just stop. I took a day off and came back with a cooler head, and when I finally got to the prison, I said, oh no. I started thinking about the prison in the original game, and how it's a fairly brief and compelling section that acts more as a connection to the labyrinth instead of being its own massive area to be explored. They're gonna make it last forever, aren't they? Well, of course, now it's a giant 3-floor sprawling map with 4 locked doors tied to a central puzzle that requires 5 puzzle pieces to use to open each door one at a time, leading to 4 unique sections of the map to explore.
It's almost like they wanted to change things up for their fucking remake. Wow. That's crazy.
Really, I think the only map I can say I was happy with in the end was the hotel, because it's the one that actually feels like the original, just a remix of the classic layout.
Oh my god, you're sucking the dong of the first one so much, you might as well go back to the first one, okay? If you don't like a remake, that's fine. Just stop complaining. Oh my fucking god, they changed things up. Oh my god, oh no. Oh, but they went ahead and made things exactly the same from the first one. Oh, I like that. Because it's exactly from the first one, you fucking idiot. So just go back. Go back to the first one, okay? I don't want to hear you complaining anymore, because you obviously don't like change.
Much like RE2 Remake's new version of the police station, it hasn't seen a total overhaul, and it generally preserves that original map's flow, which was nice, if only they'd shown the same kind of restraint in the other maps. The pacing issues are also not helped by the fact that James moves agonizingly slow. Okay, credit where credit is due, they removed the horrible stamina system from the original, but your overall movement speed has been severely nerfed, and when you combine the slower movement speed with the expanded maps, you end up with an experience that becomes quite painful at times. Look at how fast James could reach the tunnel from his car in the original. Look how long it takes to run across the hospital.
I'm done. Nope, I'm done. I can't deal with his criticisms anymore. If you're really going ahead and criticizing seconds, and I mean seconds, of speed difference from one pace to other, I'm done. I'm done. There's no understanding you if you're really gonna make fucking comparisons like this. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Hope you guys have a better day than me, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye-bye.